Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. This is our first impression drive of FSD 14.1.4. I'm currently in my driveway waiting to engage this. I added a couple of different stops. One, I'm going to go to the regional park in a little town outside of San Antonio. After that, I'm going to go ahead and reroute to Walmart by that Castroville regional park. And then from there, I'm going to just go ahead and head on back. The route is familiar to me. I know a couple of spots that we'll talk about that I've had issues before with FSD, but I'm interested to see what this new version of FSD does for us. So I'm going to go ahead and get our drive started, see how many disengagements that we have, and just overall give you my first impressions as we're driving along of FSD 14.1.4. Let's get into it. And here we are, the moment of truth. I'm going to go ahead and select the start self-driving. Again, we don't have to select on the brake pedal to confirm that we want to engage full self-driving. So here we go. Okay, I'm gonna say one thing right now that I'm noticing off the bat, like 100% off the bat. I have never started FSD from my parking space at home without a delay in the vehicle getting out of the parking stalls there. Another thing that I'm noticing, I don't know if anybody has noticed this, prior to this 14.1.4 update, the vehicle, I saw a little bit of hesitation right there. I felt a little bit of hesitation on that one. But prior to that, I've always had FSD stay in the middle of the road. You'll notice that back there were a few. Oh wow, that's not cool. It's noticing this these folks here off to the side on the sidewalk. So it paused briefly, noticing that they were there, and I specifically picked this time. Oh my God, that is horrible. I don't know if anybody actually noticed that, but as I turned, I've never had that happen where I've made a turn and the steering wheel has gone left, right, kind of herky-jerky type of a thing there. So one, getting out of, I'm gonna go ahead and clean the windshield here. This is actually taking a different route that I did not want to take. I'm very interested as to why it decided to do this. I'm going to the regional park. It should have taken a different route. But, wow. Okay. So, right off the bat, as I was going down the street, a couple of cars parked to the right, to the left. It usually stayed in the middle. Gave an equal amount of space to both vehicles parked on either side, either direction, perpendicular to the road there. But in this one, whenever I got out, again, without any kind of hesitation, I ended up getting out, but it stayed towards the right of the the vehicle to the right that was parked on the right side. It stayed really close, made me a little nervous and hesitant. Again, this is the first time that it's actually taken me this route. I'm going to the city of Castroville Regional Park. Normally, I would have been taken down a rural road or an FM road all the way down, hardly any traffic whatsoever. But here it's choosing to take what appears to be the more congested route down a highway. But I definitely get it. Probably the quicker of the routes. Yeah, whenever I made that turn, after it noticed like the pedestrians on the sidewalk, again, that herky-jerky movement, I hated that. Never has done that before. Yeah, that just made me a little apprehensive, a little nervous here. Hopefully I ended up getting it on either of the two cameras here. I'll use both footage so y'all can get a good perspective of what it did. Or actually, like, it should have gotten a perfect picture from my DJI camera here of the steering wheel and what it did. I'll leave some comments there on what y'all feel about that. But back to me picking this time of day, or rather night. It is 7:21. And I figured, hey, you know what? It does great. It does pretty amazing during morning hours when the sun's out. I've had no issues whatsoever after probably like release 13, like most folks, right? 13 has been great. I do recall a little bit of release 12 towards the end, later releases. Again, I felt that it still did adequately enough. Definitely huge difference from 12 to 13, and everything 13 going on perfect. I have yet to experience what I experienced in version 13 that I did just now a few minutes ago. But again, nighttime, figured this would be a good opportunity to see what this new build could do. And prior to that, I was actually going to say, hey, you know what? Right now I'm in standard mode. I'm going to go ahead and toggle on and off, or between the new modes. I actually didn't see that it gave me an option, parking options, but I guess I will select over here, right below where it says self-driving. And another thing that folks out there have already noticed, but the iconic FSD steering wheel logo up here on the left corner, no longer present, no longer there. I want to say right now it's in standard, and I've never felt standard be this. For now, it's assertive and smooth. That's the feeling that I initially got whenever I got out of the parking stalls, right? So smooth, decisive, right? We'll say that, decisive, confident, right? But down the street, I felt a little odd making that initial turn. It didn't creep, it just stayed in one position and decided to go, right? I mean, more confidence, knowing that what exactly it should be doing. I get that turn after it noticed the pedestrians. I gotta really say it the way it is. That was no bueno right there. Again, this is a pretty busy intersection. Never taken me down this road. For the audience, you'll notice that once I make a right here down to 11, it's finding a clear spot. We still have some traffic coming down to 11, but you'll notice right here it merges into one lane, and again, usually backed up. So let's see how it does right here. No issues. Luckily, I didn't have anybody directly behind me, and the traffic that I had ahead of me was slowed down enough. No kind of need for abrupt stops, anything of that sort. Usually, again, just congested down this road. Doesn't matter what time of day it is. Again, 7:24 right now, but this road, doesn't matter what time of day it is, pretty congested. I will say that I am liking the fact that it feels smoother, right? The drive, the confidence, so far so good. Hopefully it can redeem itself. I'm also going to go ahead and have a video during the daytime. I'm very curious to see if night impacted the vehicle's ability to be how I remember it to be, right? No issues, no kind of concerns, no herky-jerky movements, not staying close to vehicles on the side of, parked off to the side of the road. While I am currently stopped, I'm going to access this new menu, sub-menu that has never been there. It gives the speed profiles. We'll see Sloth right there, that is new. We'll see Hurry, which has been there, and then our new feature, Mad Max. Again, I was going to be on board of trying Mad Max, but now that we've had some minor issues, I'm a little apprehensive in doing that. But I like that. I like the fact that there's a sub-menu easily accessible on the main screen instead of having to go into sub-screens. That's perfect. Thank you, Tesla. Y'all really knocked that part out of the ballpark. So I'm also seeing that we have at destination park, just generally park at a parking lot, driveway, or curbside, right? I'm going to go ahead and leave it as it's listed right now, listed as parking lot. One thing that I'm noticing right now, I'm a little distracted. I'm going to say that much. And the reason I'm distracted because I'm trying to try and read the new menus, right, on here, and trying to describe them. But in the time that I have been looking away and have been driving, I have yet to receive a audio prompt nor a visual prompt. I know that there are now some different alternate video and audio prompts that come up. Maybe not so much the sound, but just the prompts that come up that indicate for the end user to pay attention. So I have yet to see that, and I feel like in the last version, that prior to jumping to 14, I think 13.2.9 gave you a prompt of any sort after 7 Mississippi. 7 seconds usually was the sweet spot. A lot of other folks have also documented that 7-second threshold of not paying attention. Felt like it was longer, but who's to say that it has been, right? Or at least my perception of the time that passed while I was distracted and looking away from the screen. So right now, no issues in stopping at the light, allowing a good amount of distance in front of me to the vehicle that is directly in front of me. No issues in taking off. One thing that I'll notice and that I'll mention right now, folks have commented on this, and I'll go ahead and say 100% correct. When taking off, a lot quicker. Like right now, the speed limit's 65. I felt that at that stop sign, I was able to get up to speed, or at least allowable speed, from the vehicle that was directly in front of me in attaining a posted speed limit. So in that regard, I'm liking it. I'm really, really liking it. And right now, standard mode. I feel like they've spiced up standard mode. I'm okay with it so far, as long as we don't have any herky-jerky movements of the steering wheel. I'll say it that way. I said it before, I'll say it again, and I'm probably going to say it again further down this video. That bad, folks. That bad. Okay, no issues right here. We had a vehicle making a left, no signal. Still no issues whatsoever in proceeding as normal. So right now we're going to go ahead and veer right, and we're going to get onto the highway here on Highway 90 to get to our destination. And I believe that on this highway that we're coming up against, it's going to be 70 miles an hour. Interested to see how quickly we get to that speed. Right now we're going at 55. Yeah, you notice right away, 70 miles an hour. I picked it up that that's the posted speed, so it's already ramping up here at the turn, indicating 40 miles an hour. Don't feel that it's going to pick that up, and that's okay. I mean, normal drivers, whenever I come through here, I don't slow down. And the reason why I wouldn't slow down at 40 miles an hour, because I'm just going to be getting back up to 70 miles an hour. And if I were to drive a nice car, I wouldn't want to lose any kind of momentum. Don't really have that problem in a EV, but still, you know, just conditioned to think that way. So no issues. We got up to 70 pretty quickly. And right there, FSD 13.2.9 would not have passed up that vehicle as quickly as it did. There would have been some hesitation, or I don't know, I feel like it erred more on the side of caution as far as not wanting to make a drastic move right off the bat, right? Just staying in its indicated lane. Here we have some flashing lights, and we have some traffic. This vehicle in front of me, you're seeing here on the top left corner, we're slowing down. Wow, that's one thing that I was interested to see whether or not it was going to change lanes, and notice that, hey, you know what? We got a vehicle that is kind of going below the posted speed limit. For safety purposes, I need to get out of its way. That's something that I would have done, and it did it like automatically. We have directly behind us. You're not able to see it, but a vehicle that's aggressively following and passing up, a truck right there. I don't know if you noticed that. Right now we're following, we're drafting right behind this dump truck at 72 miles an hour. It's not making any kind of big moves here, and that's okay. I'm curious to see if I move it up, whether I got enough distance between the vehicle in front of me, right, and then the SUV. I believe it was a Tahoe, Chevy Tahoe that I passed up, that I could still go left. I was going to change the speeds here, but there's really no reason. There's another truck here that's kind of stalling traffic, and the vehicle directly in front of me is going quicker. So it's doing what I would have done and just followed the current vehicle that I'm behind. I don't know why folks decide at night, hey, and well, there we go. It noticed that it had plenty of real estate, was under the posted speed limit, and decided, I'm going to get out of that lane. I'm going to go ahead and go into the fast lane, and I'm going to attempt to pass here. I'm going to go ahead and switch the profiles. I am at hurry, but I want to go ahead and do Mad Max, and let's see. Again, I've never really gone into hurry mode. I didn't feel comfortable going into hurry mode when I had FSD 14.2.9, but for the sake of it, for the sake of testing, for the sake of science, folks, whether this is science or not, absolutely not, just a sociological experiment, right, for y'all to see my experience, my first impression. I need to select it. So, and selecting it, 69 miles an hour, got up to that 70 mile an hour speed. Boom, ended up getting out of the lane, noticing that this vehicle in front is slowing down, and it is slowing down because of the fact that we have a decrease in speed coming up, 60 miles an hour up ahead, as that sign indicated. And we are now at 60 miles an hour. We are right here at 60, and noticed right away that sign. It is, even at 60 miles an hour, going to go ahead and get out of that lane. More lane changes is what this is meant to do, what this speed profile is meant to do, and true to that, it did it, staying below the posted speed limit for now. Obviously, I feel, if y'all can see here, it's because we have a vehicle directly in front of us. Of course, it's not there's no real estate for it to attempt to make any other moves at this present moment. So slowing down, but doing what it's intended to, not being assertive, not being aggressive, not being that, let's face it, that jerk on the road that feels that he's the only person that's in a hurry, has a place to go, and passing everybody up left and right and tailgating folks. It's not doing that, which is good. We don't want a FSD speed profile to break any kind of laws, right? Aside from speeding is what folks have across the board said. That's the consensus, right? That it does speed over. FSD 13.2.9 did just that. Standard mode, 60 mile an hour speed limit, going 72, going 74 miles an hour, 14 miles an hour over the speed limit. So I don't know, take that for what it's worth. Okay, smooth as smooth can be, doing standard. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off, go back to standard mode right here. There's really no reason. This is a very populated, very busy part of the highway. We're not gonna go anywhere anytime fast, so there's no sense in that. But there's that. We'll try it again in a little bit. For the sake of it, let's go ahead and drop it down. Forget chill, let's go to sloth mode. This is sloth, y'all. Let's see what it does. 45 mile an hour is the posted speed limit. We're at 39. It knows that it's going to turn in about a mile and a half, less than a mile and a half, 1.3 miles. If I were it, I would stay here too, but for the sake of the speed mode, the speed profile, we'll see if it keeps staying in this lane or chooses to get out of this lane, go into the slow lane, and then at the very last minute decide to get back in here for its turn. It's slowing down 40, keeping that speed limit.
In 1 mile, turn left onto Constantinople Street.
You notice we ended up passing that Walmart. That's going to be our second destination. Want to see how it parks, what kind of parking spot it picks. Alrighty. There's a little bit of a gap that was created there going on sloth from us to the next vehicle up ahead and going 40 miles an hour. I feel standard would have kept up with traffic as it usually does and would have been relatively closer to the vehicle in front of us there. This is such an interesting experience right here. A very discernible difference from 13.2.9 to 14.1.4. And this is with bugs worked out, little kinks worked out. I'm going to draw your attention. I don't know how I'll get the aspect ratio. I'll zoomed in. I actually am to my screen here. But and I'm going to go ahead and go full screen. You'll notice there are differences. I can already see as far as the UI, the interface here. The car, I see a little bit more detail in there. I even see that pulsing blue light underneath the vehicle as it's churning or as it's driving along. Right now, actually, I didn't see it all that much. There it is. There it is. Please pay attention. I did, and just like that, it ended up picking up. So here's a very interesting section right here. I've had issues on and off up until one of the most recent version 13 FSDs that fixed this issue. You're gonna notice up ahead there's a light. The turn that it wants to make is almost, like a few feet past that light that is also reserved for incoming traffic to make an opposite turn. So let's see what it does. I've had FSD freak out here before and had a disengage. I've had successful runs as of late. Here we are. It's making its intentions known. You see a little gap here, a very, very brief gap, couple of feet. It is getting into its turning lane. Ooh, oh, okay. So there was some slight hesitation as it was confused just a tad bit on whether to make its intended turn, which was right away to the left. And there was also within, again, feet, another option to go ahead and make a left, but almost to, let's see, like a 75-degree angle.
500 feet, turn right,
making a left. It chose not to do that. Chose not to do the wrong thing, which is good, which is what we want. Here we have a pedestrian walking here at night. The brights came on a little bit, or the brights came on. Let's see how it treats. I thought it was going to turn here. Okay, now we're going to go up ahead. I would have been interested to see how it would have driven, given the pedestrian
right
there, whether it would have had any issues whatsoever. But that's something to look out for, right? I mean, it's just about that time when we have sundown. Folks were at the park. We might see some people leaving the park, right? Might not, but interested to see at night how it's going to treat these potential hazards, right? One thing that I'm also going to say whenever I took off from my home, prior to me leaving, I didn't have, like, I cleaned the windshield, I cleaned the cameras, right? Even the windshield camera, just a slight section over the FSD cameras, right at that area. But I had it cleaned the windshield. So I did run the windshield wipers and the fluid after I had that herky-jerky movement to see whether or not it would maybe improve something. Okay, so again, right here, we are at the park, and it says parking lot. I don't know if The gates are open. Okay, good. The gates are open. I'm just curious.
Right.
I'm curious to see what it does. I know it's gonna want me to get out of the park in a little bit. It's supposed to be sunrise, sundown type of a thing. I see where it's asking me to go. Right, okay, it's noticing a different direction. There is a parking lot, parking spaces over here. Not so much like clear parking spaces, but a parking lot, right? Here is a pedestrian that is crossing the street. It's still turning as the pedestrian is crossing the street. I think she walked in a little bit of a hurry there. It is not noticing the parking lot, and I get it. It's dark right now, not a very well lit area. I'm coming down a section that maybe I shouldn't. And here it's doing something that I'm definitely wouldn't want it to do ever. It is going down.
Destination is on the left.
It is going down a RV parking space, and it is parked itself at an RV. Well, it's not even parked. It's just, heading out, just trying to decide where it can park. Going back out the other way. Okay, that is very interesting. So I feel like it's trying to process where exactly it's going relative to the space. Now it's going to go in circles. Okay, alrighty. So I'm going to let it do its thing. Oh no, I did not. It did not take that. Yes, it did. And it took a very horrible path here. Okay, I think it's just ending right there. I think it assessed. Okay, so that's an interesting thing right there. It assessed the parking lot to the best of its ability, and it decided, hey, I'm going to go ahead and park myself over here where I was able to view that there is a parking space, right? Not the best thing to do, but I understand given the situation being at night, what it did and why it did it, okay? So let's go ahead and continue our trip, and let's see how it gets out of this. Okay, so continue, and let's start self-parking, or start self-driving, I should say. Let's see what it does. Okay, so it mapped the exit, right? That's good. Going exactly where we came from, which is entrance/exit. We're heading now to Walmart, seeing how our parking job does there. We are still in sloth mode, right? I'm gonna go ahead and bump that up to standard mode. Maybe it had something to do with sloth mode, right? I didn't take that into consideration. Usually whenever I've been in chill mode, me and my wife have always talked about this and said that chill mode seems like that teenager getting its permit, right? License permit. I don't know what I'm saying. Is that right? Permit to drive, right? 16-year-old, 17-year-old, just starting to learn how to drive, very unsure, uncertain of what it is to do, and you noticeably feel that apprehension as a 17-year-old is driving, right? One thing that I noticed, and y'all call me out on this, right? I did not have my other video, my phone recording at the same time. I completely forgot to start recording on my cell phone. Anyway, glad that I still have this DJI camera that was going the whole time. If not, I would have been crushed. But nonetheless, that's what we've always figured chill to be, right? Indecisive, apprehensive, 16, 17-year-old learning how to drive with its learner's permit. So putting it back to standard, maybe that had something to do with the parking job or just general awareness. Back at standard, feeling confident, taking off, getting up to speed quicker. Even in these small roads here, I feel like it's getting to that posted speed limit quicker. There's a lot of dips here. I'm curious to see whether or not it factors that in and says, hey, I'm going to slow down. I don't want to be like moving my passengers left and right, up and down, making them feel uncomfortable. One thing that I'm gonna say here, I like the fact that it's turning down this street where there is a protected light when we get to the intersection here to get on back onto the highway. I like that. There's a lot of different other sections here in this town and this section here that we're driving along that does not have a street sign, just a stop sign, but I don't know. Every time I drive, I always feel a lot more comfortable taking the light, right? It's a protected turn.
Now turn right onto US Highway 90 West.
Not to say that it's going to wait for the light to turn green. It could very well creep up and decide, hey, you know what? I'm clear. I'm clear to make a right. It's creeping up. There's some traffic coming to the left. But yeah, I mean, it could creep up and decide, hey, you know what? I got enough clearance. I'm gonna take that turn. I'm not gonna wait for that green. All right, we got a big rig. We got a nice gap. Let's see whether or not it seizes it. And as I'm talking, it did. Getting into the right lane. Good move. It's picking up speed nicely. Got up to that 40 in no time flat. I'm gonna say it. Love that. Love that. Noticing that right away. Anybody who gets in the vehicle, attempts FSD 14, any version, I feel like y'all are gonna notice that, and that's a huge improvement from before. So our next stop, 1.5 miles, less than a mile and a half. Walmart, going 45 miles an hour in a 40-mile zone here. Still not breaking the speed limit so much. Okay, we're past that 5-mile-an-hour buffer. I think it's trying to keep up to speed with the vehicle directly in front of us. And yeah, definitely a lot more decisive, confident, getting out of that lane. And proceeding. It's not too aggressive here. I would imagine standard to be. Never has been that. But I mean, that confidence seems to have grown considerably. Traffic's dying down, 7:48 right now, pretty smooth. Just have to worry about police officers here, a small town. They're out and about. Can't spot them too easily at night. So I might go down back to chill. Might go down to sloth just to try those profiles out. See how confident or lack of confidence they have. Chill. Again, we talked about that. Maybe sloth, just like it. Okay, making a left here, no hesitation whatsoever, knowing exactly where it needed to be.
Now turn left.
Alrighty, let's see here. It's taking it. There is some construction going on. There's going to be some dips on the road, and you know what? They fixed the holes. There were a few like holes here. As the construction was going on, I think they were doing some electrical work, digging around. I thought I was gonna notice that and slow down, but again, it's been fixed, it's been patched up. Let's see where it decides to find a parking spot. Again, we have it listed parking lot. That was a confident turn. Let's see how it actually, if it decides to get into a parking stall. Whether it goes reverse, whether it goes forward. I don't know what it's doing here. This is all new to me. It doesn't notice. I hope it doesn't notice that reserve parking spot. It did. For our law enforcement partners, we are not a law enforcement partner, unfortunately. And it decided, this is a question that I feel that it answered for me. It wanted to see whether or not it would actually look for a parking spot close to the front of the building, an available parking spot close to the front, and I feel like it did just that. So we're good on that. I'm going to go ahead and continue the trip, go ahead and head back home. The one thing that I am noticing here, I'm going to go ahead and wait because we have some pedestrians to the right of us, and I don't want to spook them out. But yeah, again, back to that whole thing. I feel like, at least in this one instance, right, we need a bigger sample size than just one drive. But whether or not it was going to find an available parking spot closest to the entrance, it did just that. It ended up parking face forward, right, front side forward, whatever you want to call it, head first, whatever the case may be. Matter of semantics. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, to be honest with y'all folks, but I'm just trying my best. But yeah, it always parks in reverse. That, flawless, no issues, no kind of concerns. Yeah, well, I mean, I'm saying flawless, right? But now that I'm trying to nitpick it, it could have been a little more centered. And I get it. I noticed the parking space at night. My camera ended up cutting off for a little bit. I think it's back on. I'm going to try to talk a little bit louder here. Don't know if it should be recording, but I think it cut off. Glad that I ended up getting my phone started. Okay, so this route, it's going to be the route that I normally take when heading back home. Okay. Speed limit, I would have turned right there, but that's just me. We're not really talking about the navigation and its choice on what roads to navigate, right? We're just talking about once the route is selected, how it drives on that pre-selected route. But so far, I mean, pretty good from what we've seen so far overall, right? The whole sample size up until now.
Turn right onto Farm to Market 471.
1.5, 2 issues. One really big one, hated the herky-jerky movement. And 2, following just a little too closely for my liking, 2 vehicles parked on the side of the road, on the right side, passenger side. Followed too closely. Oh, okay, so this is incredibly interesting, right? If you notice there is... That's not really a turning lane that you noticed, right? But a lot of people here in town, they use that shoulder as a turning lane because there is sufficiently enough room to make it into a turning lane. But legitimately it's a shoulder. I was thinking it wasn't gonna be gotta start this again. I was thinking that it wasn't actually gonna be making that turn, that it was gonna stop directly behind the vehicle in front that was going straight, and it was gonna wait until the light turned green to turn, right? To make a right turn. But at the last moment, it noticed, hey, I got enough space. Why am I waiting here? I'm gonna go ahead and get into that actual shoulder, and make my right. So I'm glad that it did that. I would have been upset at that, that it didn't do what any normal driver out there would have done. So right now, 40 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour, we're gonna be ramping up to 55. I don't feel like we're gonna be getting anywhere too fast. We have a truck directly in front of us, and it looks like it's going well below the posted speed limit. I'm curious as to why my camera ended up stopping, and I really hope I noticed the audio cue when it stopped recording. I wonder why it stopped recording. I'm trying to look at the menus, but again, I'm supervising this FSD, this Tesla FSD. Did not want to be distracted. To the best of my ability, I resumed recording, hopefully at a good At a good, what am I trying to say, Manny? At a good resolution. I had it set at 4K wide and 30 frames per second, I believe. Let's see what it ended up with when we get home. So far, so good. I'm not having any complaints. This is actually as good of a drive that I would anticipate or have had with FSD during the daytime with 13.2.9 versions. Oh, you know what? One thing that I'm gonna do, because it says, okay, so I'm heading back home, right? Here's my thing. My question that I've asked myself ever since I knew that this feature was coming out. I've asked myself, hey, where is it gonna park in the driveway? Is it gonna? I mean, there's 2 stalls, right? Is it gonna park in relation to like the driveway being empty? Noticing that it's empty for the sake of, for our purposes, because I keep my cars inside the parking garage, right? So I keep them in the garage. I have the driveway that is completely empty, 2 stalls, right, left. I wonder whether it'll notice, hey, you know what? This driveway, completely empty. I'm gonna park right in the middle. No issues, no kind of concerns with parking in the middle. Why else would I give myself, one space or the other, one stall or the other to park at? Or whether it's gonna say, hey, you know what? I see 2 stalls. Just like in a parking garage, right? Or in any kind of, parking spaces out there, businesses out there. There's a variety of spaces. I'm gonna go ahead and select one parking space. And I get it. Like if we're going to a Walmart like we just did, Target, things like that, businesses like that, there's lines painted for parking spaces, right? So I get why it would do that, because it's identifying, hey, this is a space I'm going to occupy. I'm going to stay within the lines, right? Within the parameters of the designation, the parameters of my programming, right? That's what I wanted to say. But here we have a variable, we have a home. There's no lines that are painted, right? I didn't get any kind of painter's tape, right? Blue or white painter's tape, and make my own de facto parking space, right? For FSD to identify, hey, this is a parking space. I'm gonna go ahead and stay within the lines, stay within the parameters of my programming, right? We don't have that. Let's see what happens when we get there. One other thing that I'll say about that, right now, empty stalls, empty driveway, right? Next go around, and this is probably asking for trouble, Manny. I'm gonna go ahead and have one of my cars parked outside the garage, taking up the right or left one of the stalls, and seeing what it does, what FSD 14.1.4 does. That's going to be an interesting experience, an experiment. We'll try out the next one during the daytime, of course. I don't want to chance it at night. But here we are, smooth enough drive. We have one car behind us, not following too closely. Nice and quiet. I really hope this car goes straight, so I can just have free range, free path in front of me. Okay, one of the issues that I have here as I'm going to be turning right, there is I'm making a right. Ooh. So 55 mile an hour speed limit sign here. As we turn right, there should be a speed limit sign that will indicate 60 or 65, if I'm not mistaken. It never notices the speed limit sign here and stays at 55. No matter what FSD version I've had. Here it is to the right, 65 miles an hour. Thank you. I noticed it immediately that it turned to 65 on the dash here on the screen. So thank you, good folks at Tesla, those amazing and wonderful engineers That was a huge pet peeve that has never been ironed out. There's also the same problem when I'm going the opposite direction and a speed limit sign that says 65 doesn't pick it up and stays at below that that speed limit. There's also an interesting experience that I encountered because of a little bit of construction here. There was a data center that was being built, so they had some construction off to the side of the roads and helping steer traffic as big trucks ended up getting out of the construction zone, right? But anyway, like at the facto construction zone, where there was a 65 mile an hour speed limit, followed within mere seconds by a slow down and get down to 40-45 speed limit zone, and then after that, no indication besides construction zone ended, an indication that, hey, back to 65. So FSD always ended up getting stuck in that zone at 45 miles an hour, when again, everybody who knows that area, knows that section, knows to proceed to 65 regardless of what was posted before, right? Obviously, end of construction zone. That's getting notification. That's giving notification to the driver. Resume the posted speed limit. We'll try it again during the daylight, during the daytime, to see whether or not that's been fixed, or whether somehow it being at night and us having our lights on here made any kind of a difference, right, in recognition of those speed limit signs. Could be that too. I was just happy it picked it up to 65. We're well below the speed limit. We're going 54 because this guy in front of us is by far the slowest driver known to mankind. I noticed that's one of the things too. I think it's by design that the steering wheel isn't so locked or rigid in its position from prior FSDs. There's a little more play with it, and maybe it has something. I feel like I've read this, and it's part of the new parameters of programming, that it gives a little more leeway in the event you need to disengage FSD, and it's not going to fight you, right? And there has been that experience. I'll tell you this much: you're going to experience that fight, that pull, that steering wheel going kind of crazy, not wanting to work with you whenever you disengage using the brake pedal, right? Even if I have like my hands here and I select, and in prior versions, select the brake pedal to disengage, I choose that option, I've always had a hard time getting back hold of the steering wheel, right, from that disengagement. But the one thing that I've always done, it's a tried and true, whether it's in this vehicle, the 2025 Model Y with the stocks, or my wife's 2026 Model Y without the shift stocks. On this one, obviously, if I do shift stocks up to disengage, I'm gonna have by far a easier disengagement than if I would select the brake pedal, right? And maybe I get it to a certain degree, because you're hitting the brakes. It's, I don't know, maybe a little more resistance, but easier option, the shift stocks for disengagement. But we shall see whether that's still consistent here or not. But I am seeing more play with the steering wheel. And maybe that was part of, I don't know. I keep wanting to be on the side of Tesla and FSD programming. And my God, I'm already getting close to home. And now this guy decides to get out and turn. Thank you very much for nothing, Dodge Ram. There was a police officer right there, off to the side. Not here, but off back. Maybe it is a undercover police officer. But we're getting close to home and the end of the
Now
trip.
turn left onto Redwood Boost.
But again, I'm trying to, devil's advocate. Maybe it was part of the programming. Maybe the play was as intended, but that was too herky-jerky for my liking. Too herky-jerky for it to be safe, and it didn't select a lane to stay in. It was in the middle of two lanes. It was right smack dab in the middle of two lanes. So right now, it's making a turn, a little bit darker. Okay. It's making good use of its brights. You see right there that some of the LEDs turned off. Notice that there was a vehicle there, didn't want to blind it. Adaptive headlights.
Now turn left onto Redwood
Love the
Heights.
adaptive headlights though. Great feature to have. All vehicles on the road here in America should have them, and I really, really hope now that there's that regulatory approval that they all have them. Okay, so it's being extra cautious here. It's a little dark. Making a left. We got a pedestrian over here on the sidewalk. She's got a little vest. That's the non-issue because it's on the opposite side of the road. Coming down.
Your destination will be on the right.
Two things to be on the lookout for as we go down my street here and a populated
Now turn right onto Reeves Garden.
road with cars parked off to the side. See whether or not it'll stay close to one side of the road or the other, even though there's vehicles here. See, there's a vehicle right here. I feel it's staying further away than it did before.
Your destination will be on the right.
Here we go. We got vehicles on both ends, on both sides of the road, parked. Let's see whether it's gonna choose. Okay, it's slowed down drastically. A little too much for my liking.
Now your
Okay, it's
destination is on
noticing
the
here
right.
that we're home. I did not turn on the lights. Ah, this is odd. I ended up selecting home, start self-driving. And
Now make a U-turn to stay on Reeves
I
Garden.
ended up selecting driveway. It did not do that, so I ended up putting my address back on again. You'll see it right there, top left corner, that I've selected driveway. It parks on the side of the road. I don't know if it did that at the last moment. Disengage
Now your destination
that
is
selected
on the left.
option. Let's see what it does. Okay, it's going driveway. Let's see what it does. Right, left, down the middle. Not necessarily down the
Now
middle.
your destination is on the right.
I'm gonna go ahead and do my rear view cameras here. You'll notice stalls are equally divided, left, right. What did it do? Like right now, we're not even in the middle. We're kind of off to the side, and I get it, right? The visibility, the lack thereof visibility, whenever we ended up getting here, right? It being dark, wasn't too sure. I didn't have my lights on. Maybe that could have made a difference. You'll notice that I didn't have my porch lights on, so maybe that's a huge difference here. But for whatever reason, it chose not to pick one side or the other. Didn't go to the middle either. So there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and pause it real quick. Okay, so I'm in my garage. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up the video here. I kind of want to give a little bit of a summary of things that I've experienced, overall feel, all the impressions that I had with the available options, selections, new features that have been put out there. So, one, confidence. I feel that this new version, 14.1.4, a lot more confidence than the prior one, right? So we mentioned that discernible confidence, right? I like that. I want that to continue. Thank you. Thank you, folks at Tesla. Let's keep that up. I really like the arrival options, right? First impression, again, need a bigger sample size. Whether it's going to be consistent, I selected what I felt to be the driveway. It negated that. Maybe I didn't select it. The second time that I selected it, it got into the driveway. Not a perfect park by any stretch of the imagination, but it got to the driveway. Never before Would it have done that? I love that option. Want that to expand, want that smoothness to continue. Gonna go ahead and try different experiments with the parking, right? I'm even gonna do like other folks did, right? Maybe I'm gonna go ahead and like put some tape around my parking garage to see whether or not it'll actually park in the parking garage, right in the garage. As far as speed profiles, I noticed Mad Max, we didn't have a good opportunity to see its features for what it is, so I'm gonna reserve that impression for a later video. Sloth mode, it wasn't, at least going to the destination, it wasn't overly slow to the point where it would go into a lane and hinder its ability to regain or get back into lane that it needed to make further down the road. So I felt that it made a wise decision, aside from its speed profile, the speed profile being selected, right? In chill mode, if I selected that at the same section, I would have gone into the slow lane. I wouldn't have gotten out of the slow lane at all, right? So at least it made a wise choice there. I feel in terms of parking, finding a parking space at the destination in the park, which wasn't well lit at all, right? Didn't do such a hot job, very indecisive. But again, the variables, nighttime, not having any painted parking spots, right? Those are options. It chose to survey briefly the location. I like that, but did not park there. So those are not so, areas of opportunity, I should say, not so positive comments about sloth mode. The minute that I got out of sloth mode and back into standard mode, it picked up. One thing that I'll say again, and I've said it before, I want to mention it again, right? Closing out the video. Whenever you're at a stop and you're taking off, it gets to the anticipated posted speed a lot quicker, a lot more confident, right? So that's part of the confidence that I mentioned earlier. Just wanted to add a little bit more to that. A little bit of hesitation as I was getting out of my streets. A lot of hesitation in terms of picking a lane and doing the herky-jerky movement. I didn't experience any kind of aggressive braking. That wasn't the issue. Just indecisiveness there, right? I don't feel like I personally have never experienced phantom braking after 13.0, right? Still haven't right now, but those are some things that are out there. The navigation, I would have picked a different route. It didn't give me it gave me two options to leave, or when I was leaving, but none of them gave me the option that I have been accustomed to, which I feel is a preferred route to get to my anticipated destination, which in all honesty would have been a whole lot quicker because it would have been less traffic, but it didn't take that into account. No matter what time of day it is, it would have been a quicker drive just because of less traffic. Did not give me that option. I did not like that. Let's see. Those are the things that I can clearly say right now. I think it's a little rough around the edges, even with some updates that have been made from point 3, I believe. I think they jumped from 14.1.1 to 14.1.3, if I'm not mistaken, then to 14.1.4. It definitely needs refinement so far, at least with the drive, the time of day that I ended up taking my drive. I'm very positive about it, right? I'm very much looking forward to actually having a drive during daytime to really give my full assessment of it. But at least right now, for the sake of this video, if I had to give it a grade, right? A, B, C, D, E, F, whatever. A, B, C, D, E, F, E, F, G. No. If I had to give it a grade, right? I'd say B. I'm inclined to want to say B minus because of that herky-jerky movement, right, that I experienced. But I'm going to give it a solid B. It could be better. It could have been better. But for the drive and for what it was, all variables involved, solid B. So I'm going to close out the video with that. Having said that, thanks again for tuning in. Like and subscribe. And we'll see you again on the next one.